Well, hello to all my brothers and sisters of the leaf. Today what we're going to do is we're going to bunch an Uppowoc Perfecto. What is an Uppowoc Perfecto, you may ask? Well, first off, Uppowoc is one of many Indian words for tobacco. That word was just kind of sitting around there going to rust. Nobody was using it, so I figured, what the hell, I'll steal it. And Perfecto, of course, is Spanish for perfect, but it also describes this particular shape of a cigar. It's called a Perfecto, has a taper at either end and a straighter barrel in the middle. I like to make my Perfectos with a rounder head, that's the part you put in your mouth, and a more straight tapered foot, that's the part that you light. This particular Uppowoc Perfecto is bound with Habano 2000 tobacco. The Habano gives it a sort of a creamy flavor, but we're not getting into that today, and it's not going to look like this at the end of the day, because what we're going to do is we're going to make what goes underneath that wrapper before it's decorated, and that's the bound cigar. What we're going to use in our blend today is some Corojo. That's this good stuff. That stuff is real spicy and sort of a nutmeg kind of a spice. I'm not going to tell you how many leaves for a purpose. All right. Then we're going to use some Criollo. Criollo is more of a woody spice flavor to it. Again, I'm not going to tell you how many leaves or how much it weighs or anything like that, and that's on purpose. And then for a little bit of flavoring, we're going to put this that somebody sent to me. It's called Prilep or Prelep, I'm not sure how you pronounce it. Real tiny leaves. They're supposed to add some sweetness to the thing. First time I've used that, so that's experimental. When I combine Corojo and Criollo, it makes a combination blend that I like to call Carajo. That's something of an inside joke for all my Spanish-speaking friends. So we're going to have a Carajo with a little bit of a Prilep sweetness in it. We're not going to use our tobacco like that. We're going to use it like this, kind of pinched off in the middle and rolled up. All right? So this is what we're trying to make right here. Now, note what I'm doing, because I only have about two things to contribute to the conversation, and one of them is going to come up right now. A lot of people complain that they have a good deal of wasted tobacco when they make their cigars. My point of view is, if you have wasted tobacco, then obviously you've used too much when you were bunching your cigar. How do you know how much to bunch? This is how. You take that guy right here and you say, how big is that? Well, it's that big. How many inches is it? I don't give a crap. How much does it weigh? Who cares? How many leaves went in it? Absolutely immaterial. The point is, it's this big, right? How do we know that it's this big? Well, there's the mold that we're going to use. It's this big. Do not despise the measures that come from the human body. After all, that's where we derive all the rest of the measures that we know about. One heartbeat on a healthy young man is a second. That's an inch. That's 4 inches. That from there to there is a cubit. From your collarbone to the end of your hand, that's a yard. Stretch out both hands, you've got yourself a fathom. Stick out your right foot 1,000 times, you've got a mile. Everybody knows where to find a foot on their body, don't they? Well, perhaps with the exception of Frenchmen, who can't find any more than a centimeter. Poor buggers. So what you do is, you feel that cigar right there in your hand. You say, this is the size of a bunch I'm going to make, and you won't have any wastage, will you? The other thing that you feel, and this is the second thing that I have to contribute, feel the bulk of the thing. Roll it around in your hand, and it's about that much. It's about that much. Get a feel of it. Now, granted, once you bind this thing, it's not going to be, your bunch is not going to be anywhere near as tight. It's not going to be as smooth as what the finished product is going to be. We're not concerned about that. Believe it or not, with your hand, you can still feel the bulk of what you're looking for. If you go like this and say, you know, that should be just about right, then when you make your bunch, you put that in there, and you can say, well, hell, that's not nearly enough. I got to have more. Until you get to the point where you say, you know, that just feels like the right amount of bulk. and then you'll be good to go. How do I get that? Well, I take these leaves here, I roll them up. I like to roll from the inside to the outside. In other words, from where the stem is to the edge of the leaf. You can see I've taken the stem off already in preparation because I didn't want to bore you with the ridiculous details of the thing. I figure you can probably figure out how to get the stem off yourself, the central vein of the leaf. You can probably figure out how to cut that out. If you can't figure it out, then I suggest you stay away from edge tools, at least until your mommy gets home. But so these all these things I have already cut the center stem off of and prepped it for work. Now here we are. Here we're looking at that and we're saying, well, now that's a little bit long for what we're looking at, so we're just going to pinch that off. There's a little bit of waste right there, but we're good to go. We take this guy here, we roll him up from the center, we roll him to the outside. By rolling it, we make more or less of a tube through which the air can pass so that the cigar will draw properly. We're always putting the thicker part, the part that I broke off in the center, up here where the head is going to be, and we're taking that tapered part of the leaf here where there's less bulk down in the bottom where the tapered foot is going to be, and so it's naturally going to wind up being the shape that I want. Somewhere about the middle, I start putting my flavoring in. These guys are real little. I'm just going to tuck them in here like this. Now, whenever I put some flavoring in a cigar, whether it's this stuff or some Matafina or whatever the case may be, I like to put it up in the barrel of where that cigar is going to be, right in this portion. Because my thought is, you're going to light this, that ember is going to burn up, and then when it gets to the barrel of the cigar where the pure volume starts really flowing, all of a sudden you're going to have an explosion of flavor right at that point where the flavoring tobacco that you put in appears. Got me? So here we go. Let's get some more because the bulk doesn't feel right yet. And we'll get another one over here because the bulk doesn't feel right yet. It's starting to get full though. I can feel it. And here we go. Oh, now that's starting to feel good. That's starting to feel right. Right? Now it's big old shaggy thing. It's nothing at all like that. It's not nearly the size of that. But you know what? You can feel that it feels alike. A little bit long down in here. Let me chomp some of the tails of this stuff off. That's not a whole lot of waste, is it? We'll put what waste we have over here so that we can determine in the end how we made out. Here's our binder. We are ready to go. Now, the binder's laying down here with the veins coming this way, right? So the tip of the leaf is down here. The head of the leaf is up in there. What we're going to do is we're going to start out at the bottom of the leaf here, laying this guy down at about, I don't know, 60, 70 degrees to where the veins are, and then we start rolling this cone. The rest of this we don't pay any attention to at all. We're not rolling that yet. We're only rolling the part that is presently going into the binder. All right? The rest of it will have to come around by itself. If you don't do that, you try to force and fool with this, you'll wind up twisting that stuff and it affects the draw. Now we've gotten up past where we want the taper to be, so we're done with that. And the way we make this fit now is we go about halfway across, we cut that little rascal, we fold this business over here like this, tuck it in right here, right? And now from here on we're more or less double binding the son of a gun. And again, we're moving our fingers. The only place that we're really pinching and worrying about trying to roll it, bind it, or make it tight is right here in the middle. We're not where it's going right into the leaf and so forth. We come up to the head here. Now, come up to the head. It's going to start going a little bit this way again because there's more of a little bit of a taper at the top. And there we go. That ugly thing there is our bound cigar. Doesn't look like much. We're not worried. Why? Because we're going to put it into this mold, and once we get it in here, excuse me a minute while I force that open. Now this mold is pretty darn handy. Some lady sold this thing on ePray for 34 bucks as an antique. I bought it just because I thought it'd be decorative. All this old handwork, carved, all this stuff, and little things that the blacksmith pounded out and so forth. First time I used it, I said, well, this is pretty neat. And so, been using it since. We stick this guy in here. We give a little tug here to the tapered foot that kind of pulls it into place. We put this right in here, tuck it in. Now guess what? Does that fit just right or what? Why? Why does it fit right? Because we made it this size. The total amount of waste that we're going to have from this is next to nothing. Now look at this. This is what I really like about this mold. See those little fingers? They're right there. They fit into those slots. This peg here indexes the whole thing so that it's in the right spot. And then the real key to it is this. Look at this neat little cam action. You push that down. This guy goes over there. And then when you push this lever down, the cam action tightens that whole mold up real nice. And there you are. The only waste that we have is not much. We got this right here. We've got this right here. So that's that and that. And we got this little bit of scrumptious crumbs that fell over the side here. That's all there is to it. That's all that we wasted. And what have we done? We've created ourselves already a nice little shape. Look at this. How that shape is already conforming so pretty to the Perfecto that we have in mind. Right? Just quick as a wink. Easy to do. Simply by regarding it not as rocket science, but as something simple. I firmly believe that if you're going to do something right in this world, you have to do it efficiently. If you're not doing it efficiently, you're not learning the right way. So that's it. That's the first step in making our Uppowoc Perfecto. In a separate video, I'll show that little bugger getting wrapped. Take care, brothers and sisters, and enjoy your leaf.